Are movies becoming an outdated medium? We're going to talk about it on this Orange Nerd Quickie right now. Welcome aboard to another episode of Orange Nerd, and this is a quickie, right? A little short video. Usually, I do hour-long Orange Nerd shows with my buddy, my dear friend, my collaborator, Mr. Vash Sky, and also Disney Family Man 23. We had a great show actually yesterday or day before yesterday, I believe, all about ScarJo and Chapek and what have you. Link up above. Check that out when you get a chance. But in this quickie, we're going to talk about movies. Movies. Are movies an outdated medium? So, a gentleman who I'm actually a huge fan of, Mr. Kristian Harloff. And for those of you that are not familiar with Kristian Harloff, he was with Collider for a long time. He was the host of Jedi Council. And really, look, a lot of people ask me, and I'm going to digress a little bit here, but a lot of people ask me, Orange Grove, how did you get involved with YouTube? Well, the reason why I got involved with YouTube wasn't because I wanted to be a Disneyland vlogger. I don't even really to this day watch a lot of Disneyland vlogs. I just don't. Very, very few. Kristian Harloff and the Collider crew, Campia, John Snepp, that was my inspiration for this channel. They really, really were. I really got hooked on their content around 2014, and they were really my inspiration. So if Harloff, if you're watching, man, thank you, sir. You inspired me to start my channel, and I'm a big fan of yours, man. I really am. But he tweeted something out the other day that I thought was really, 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 really interesting. And so Mark Fernandez, who actually was the CEO of Collider for many, many years, tweeted out, before I had seen the Many Saints of Newark, I was hoping they would make a trilogy. Now I am begging for it. Now, Kristian Harloff quote tweeted Mark and said, movie isn't the way to do it. It's starting to become an old medium, to be honest. The streaming service and ironically, the original Sopranos changed the game. Let's go series. Now, before we dive into this, I also want to share with you a part two of what he said, because Harloff also quote tweeted somebody else in relation to this. So Anthony C said, according to David Chase, he wants to do a sequel to the following Tony in his 20s. I'm all for it after watching the movie last night. I prefer a series though, so you don't have to cram everything in. You can let it build. And Harloff, again, just kills it, crushes it. And he says, no movies. We don't need them anymore. People rely on them too much. We need to expand. Even if it's a mini series, that would be better than cramming everything into a 2-hour movie. There's so much they could have done in 7 episodes with Saints. Now, full disclosure, I haven't seen Saints of Newark yet. Okay, I have never even seen the original Sopranos. But the overall message that Harloff is conveying here in this tweet and the previous tweet, I completely 100% agree with. Completely. And look, I'll be real with you. If you would have asked me this 5-6 years ago, completely wouldn't have agreed with this at all. I've really come around to I guess you can say television. I don't even know if it's called television anymore, but just series in general. Okay. Look, a movie can only cram so much in, right? You can only do so much with like a 2.5 hour movie. With a series though, like for example, let's take Mandalorian. Perfect example. You can do 45-minute episodes, 45 to an hour, and have an 8 or 9 episode series. You essentially get 8 or 9 hours with these characters. You have 8 or 9 hours to develop these characters, get to know these characters. You can build on that character development much more than you can on just a 2-hour film. Look, I recently, for the first time, and I know I'm late to the party here, but I recently just binged Breaking Bad, the entire series. Okay, never watched it before, binged the entire series, and I think it's like, I don't even really remember, but it's like 5 or 6 seasons, I believe. Now, I thought that show was phenomenal, one of the best shows I've ever watched. But could you have crammed the story of Walter White in a 2-hour, 2.5-hour movie? Absolutely. You could have took all that material and crammed it in to 2.5 hours and made a movie. But it wouldn't have been nearly as effective, would it have been? I don't think it would have been. I think having it as a series, you really got to know Walter, right? And Jesse and like all the characters, you really got to know them. They were really able to flesh out, the character development. Okay. And you can get to know them. Same with Game of Thrones. Yeah, you could have, kind of crammed everything into a 2 or 3 hour movie. But why would you? You have 8 seasons where you can really develop the characters over 8 long seasons, right? It's much more effective. Look, we don't live in 1992 anymore. Okay. TV series, they're much different now than they were 25, 30, 40 years ago. The game, and I agree with Harloff, the game has changed. When I'm looking for content on streaming platforms, I'm looking for TV shows. I want something that I can binge and watch and get to know characters for days on, weeks on, months on end. That's what I want. Increasingly, that's what I want. I'm kind of, look, I agree with Harloff. The movie medium is sort of becoming an outdated one. It really, really is. Now, look, picture this, okay? Imagine if the Star Wars sequel trilogy was not a trilogy, but a series. Now, I'm not saying they should have done that because with Star Wars, there is tradition involved with having it be theatrical and have a trilogy with the Skywalker saga. I understand that. But let's just play, let's have fun with this, right? Let's just have fun with it. Let's just say the sequel trilogy was actually a series. Let's say they, instead of doing 3 movies, they would have done 3 seasons of the Rey and Kylo Ren Ben Solo story. Okay, you could have had, 10, 15 episodes, maybe even 20 episodes a season, each one 45 minutes to an hour. Really got to know Rey, really got to flesh out the character of Ben Solo and Kylo Ren. Imagine what you could have done with Palpatine. Instead of using The Rise of Skywalker in their 2-hour time frame, you could, in cramming it all in, you could have spent multiple episodes, hours worth, elaborating on the Palpatine contingency plan and how he actually came back, how he returned, how he cheated death. You could have spent so much time fleshing out that story, fleshing out the new characters. Would have been pretty incredible. And again, I'm not advocating for that. I think they made the right call overall with it being a trilogy. I'm just using this as an example. I'm just using an example that, there's so much more storytelling and character building could have been done had it been a series. And that's why, look, I'm on the series train right now. I'm on the series train right now. I think that this is the new era of storytelling. I agree with Kristian on this. This is the new era of storytelling where you can take these characters and you can spend 7, 8, 9, 10 plus hours really fleshing them out, really getting to know them. A lot of these shows have become pop culture phenomenons, and they become phenomenons because you're able to get to know the characters more. You spend literally years getting to know these characters like Walter White and the characters from Game of Thrones. So very interesting. Again, huge fan of Kristian Harloff. And I just want to say, subscribe to the Schmodown Network. I'll go ahead and link it down below. But the guy does phenomenal work. And again, he inspired me to start my channel. He was a huge inspiration, a huge part of why I started Orange Girl 55. So definitely give him a subscribe, but he does phenomenal content. But yeah, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about this whole notion of like movies kind of being an outdated medium? Do you kind of agree with Harloff and really myself in regards to this? I think it kind of is. I would much rather see a lot of stories be pushed into a series where we can really flesh out characters over the span of 7, 8, 9, 10 plus episodes a season, hours and hours worth of material instead of cramming everything into a 2-hour movie. But what do you guys think? I would love to hear from you. Thank you all so much for watching this Orange Nerd Quickie. And don't forget, check out the full Orange Nerd show that I did with Vash Guy the other day. Link up above yet again. So check that out. I would love to hear from you guys. Comment below. And as always, have a nerdy day. Bye-bye, guys.